Well, good morning there, my happy people and friends. Today I want to color a couple of pages. This is actually a double page in my Les Grands Classiques, page 85 and 86, The Lion King. These are all of the supplies that I'm using: my colored pencils, my acrylic brush markers, my Shuttle Art gel acrylic pens for the smaller details, my Tombow water-based marker for outlining, the Gamsol to layer my colored pencils, and a blending stump along with my Maui series water-based markers. Now let's get started because this is going to be a lot of fun. This picture has lots and lots of details, and I had over 15 hours of footage, like 15 and a half hours. And that didn't include about 24 minutes worth of footage that I took with my other phone doing the vertical view so that I could create a short film as well. So I'm still learning. I'm still learning the process of filming and editing while coloring. This is new, so please bear with me if it doesn't seem like what you would normally see on YouTube. And also, I'm trying to do things that are a little bit different. I don't want to copy other people's work either. So I try not to like watch a whole lot of people's YouTube channels and duplicate what they do. I like to create videos based on things that I like. So when I pick out these books, my color by number Disney books, I collect the ones that I actually like. And I know that we're supposed to collect the ones or color the pages that might appeal to the masses, but I kind of feel like I want to post something that I like to do. So I'm not saying that I don't watch other people's channels. I do, and I enjoy a few people. I have a couple that I actually really do like watching regularly, like Mireia. She's really awesome with her coloring books and A Picture's Purpose. I love her content. There's a few others that I can't really think of on top of my head right now, but I do have my favorite content creators. But what I mean is just that I don't want to duplicate what they do. And I know that a lot of content creators do like completed pages, and I probably will do videos like that. Maybe starting this month, I'll start tallying up the pages that I color. But I don't want that to be like the sole purpose of my channel. I actually like to show my work. I know that it takes a lot of editing, and I know that it's going to kind of slow me down, and I'm probably going to get less pages per month, but I think I'm okay with that. When I first started watching artistic videos, I was watching a lot of baking videos, and that's how I learned how to bake and how to custom decorate cookies and cakes. So that's why I like to share my work. That way I can give other people's inspiration and motivation to color pages themselves. So as I was outlining Pumbaa here, the words kind of like popped out on me. And so I was able to trace them with pencil. And I was like, what do these words mean? So I did end up Googling them. And the first one is Prout. I think it's prout. And it's a Latin word for fart. Because you know Pumbaa, he farts in the movie. So they use that word to resemble him. And then the Quiea. Quia, and then the second word is Piete. It took me a long time to figure out. I swear, I probably spent a good half hour trying to figure out what this meant.
And I guess it's Quia Piete. It appears to be a mix of Latin and another language, possibly French, Old French, or it's a slight misspelling of Italian, and its meaning is likely because of pity, which would make sense because he had pity on Simba when he found him in the desert.
What do you guys think about those hidden messages in these books? I now have two of them. This one has a lot of them in there, but not as many as my other book, Princess's Tome 2. That's actually where I first saw them, and I wasn't expecting to see any in this book, but I'm kind of glad that I caught it. But what do you guys think about it? Do you guys like the translations? Do you guys like finding them? Do you not really care about them? Because I noticed that not a whole lot of people on YouTube actually share them. I found a few videos, but not very many. So I'm just curious how you guys feel about them. Do you guys like when I show them to you, or could you live without them? I personally find it kind of interesting Some of the messages are pertaining to the picture or the movie itself. Some of them are names of the people who've helped produce the book or even people who've helped produce the movie. I don't know. It's kind of like a brain teaser in a way. And being that I'm kind of like this kind of person that likes to know trivia and likes to know a little bit about everything, I have this in my mind that once I see it, I have to know what it means. For the most part, I like to just find them just for myself. A lot of times I do erase them unless they are related to the story itself, then I will leave them in somehow and highlight them in a way where you can see them. But for the most part, I usually trace them with pencil and then I'll erase them if they don't really have any real meaning to it. I know that I'm showing you practically the entire process of me outlining, which is my favorite part of coloring in a coloring book is the outlining. I don't know what it is. I just really love it. But the reason why I'm sharing it with you is because I just kind of feel like it illustrates the page and it shows you the beginning of all of the work. Now, later on, when I go to color, I'm going to be skipping through it because it's just such a long process. I mean, the outlining took a long time. Like, it took me an hour just to do Pumbaa alone. And then it probably took me an hour to do Simba and Timon. But the coloring took forever. And so I can't physically show you everything unless you guys want like a 4 hour video. And I just don't think that I am able to do that. Plus, there are some skip parts where I've had to edit out me filming the vertical because all you're gonna see is like my arm in the shot. So I took all of that out as well, and I did do a lot of talking in the beginning. So I had to edit all of that out too because I wanted to condense this video down. I'm trying to keep it under 30 minutes. So what I think I'm gonna do is I'm going to make this into two parts. I will post the second part if I get enough people that say that they want it because this is 15 hours worth of footage and I just didn't want to make it too confusing for you guys or too long, especially since these pages required, I think it was like 48 or 49 colors. And since I was using almost every single art supply that I own, I didn't stick with one media for that one specific color on that symbol or number. I really hope that I'm making sense here, but basically, for the smaller details, I used my acrylic gel pens, and it might have been the same number as something that I might have used my water-based markers, but they're totally two different shades. So my intention when I first started filming this was that I was going to show you the colors that I was using, but it just got so confusing and I thought it might throw you guys off. Plus, for instance, here I'm using colored pencils on Simba, and I didn't just use one color for one specific shade. So when I was layering with my Gamsol, I might have combined two different shades to come up with his specific shade of colors. So, all of that was just to say that I'm still relatively new at all of this. I'm still learning the process on how to color in front of a camera, how to edit, all that stuff, because next time I don't know if I want like 15 hours worth of footage to sort through. So, I'm going to have to figure out how to do it in a way where it's not confusing to me or confusing to you. And also, when I look back at the time of coloring these pages, I had a different perspective of what the video was going to look like. The video that I envisioned isn't the video that I'm presenting to you today. So there's definitely a learning curve here. And for now, I'm just enjoying doing the actual coloring. I enjoy sharing my work with you guys. And I hope that you guys get some kind of entertainment out of this, or maybe you learn something, or maybe you just relate to me in some way. But okay, I'm gonna stop yip yapping for a second and I'm gonna go ahead and let you guys just watch what I'm doing here and turn up the music and let you guys listen to some bouncy music while I color Simba. Okay guys, it's the next day and I'm ready to keep coloring on. I want to show you guys something. I got my new overhead tripod, so hopefully this works out good. I'm still learning how to use it. Um, I don't know if I'm doing this right or not, so we're just gonna play with it today, see how this goes, and keep learning from here on out. When I went in with this coloring page, my intentions were to only use my colored pencils. I had done that before in this book when I did my first double page, which was the first page that I did in this book, and it was my Bambi one, and I did it because it was the same picture as the cover of the book, and I only used my colored pencils. And at that time, I didn't have Gamsol. I just used straight up colored pencils. I think for the outlining, I might have used marker, but my vision is remembering only using a black colored pencil for that as well. So yeah, my intention was just to do colored pencils for this page, but as I was coloring and realizing there was so many larger spaces, I was like, yeah, especially with Pumbaa, because Pumbaa is so big. I was like, I don't think that I'm going to be able to have enough patience to sit here and color Pumbaa with only colored pencils. So I did Simba, and I used several colors. I think I used 6 in total. I could be wrong. I could have used a couple more than that. I did have to layer different colors to get the shade, and it's still not exactly the shade from the solutions, but I still think it came out really, really nice. And like I said, I layered them with Gamsol, and what the Gamsol does is it just kind of like takes out all of the little white spots or streaks, because sometimes the pencils can be dry and some of them they can be waxy. I'm not sure why the formula changes from pencil to pencil even if you're using the same brand, but sometimes that happens. It kind of makes sense to me because as a baker, whenever I would use certain colors or icing colors in the buttercream, it would change the consistency of the buttercream, and sometimes even in royal icing as well. So it doesn't really surprise me too much that each pencil would have its different texture or consistency. But yeah, the Gamsol really helps with that. So like if your pencil is so like really waxy, the Gamsol kind of like tones it down a bit and it flattens it so that when you layer it, there isn't no streaks and no like white spots left behind. So I'm finally getting into the part where I'm filling in the outline with black marker. And I kind of wish that I would have just waited until I was done with the entire page, because even if the marker dries, whenever I would use like a water-based marker, it would pull the black into the color and it would kind of like ruin the color. It would change the color actually, especially because it is a water-based marker. So I would suggest maybe if you wanted to avoid that, maybe save the outlining for last, especially if you're using a water-based marker. If you're using acrylic, it might not have an impact on that, or if you're using colored pencil, it probably won't. But I like to make my lines pretty dark, so using a marker of some sort kind of makes the picture pop out better. So that's why I use my Tombow black water-based marker, and that's actually my favorite marker out of all of them. But I also use my micron ones in different sizes to fix any mistakes that I might have made. I guess I just got a little too excited to see his character come to life. Oh, he looks so cute. Yes, I like the way he looks. Okay, so next I'm going to be moving on to Timon. I'm going to save the bugs for a little bit later because I'm also doing a short, so I want to make sure that I do it according to like this little skit thing that I'm doing. So yeah, I'm going to keep the bugs last, but we're going to go ahead and move on with Timon. I didn't actually wait to do the bugs for very last. Like I didn't finish the entire page and then do the bugs. I just wanted to do the characters first and then do the bugs just because it's the way that I was planning out my short video. Speaking of that short video, I'm not going to be posting it until after I'm done with this video. I have like 24 minutes worth of footage that I have to condense down into like 42 seconds, something like that. And it's actually kind of hard for me to find a whole lot of these like little clips that I can convert my coloring pages into like movie clips. I don't know if I'm explaining myself correctly, but once in a while I find a goose egg or like a an Easter egg, and I find these little skits that I can animate my coloring book pages too. It's pretty cool. I love doing it. But this one I actually found, and let me see if my microphone will actually pick it up because this new laptop doesn't normally let me do it. But let's see what happens. Ah, darn, it doesn't let me pick it up on this microphone. I don't know why it doesn't let me do it. It used to on my old laptop, but I guess this new one doesn't. Yeah, it's that part where he's like, "What is that?" He goes, "Egg grub." He goes, "Ew, gross." And then later on, he gets him to eat the worm, and then he swallows it, and he goes, "Slimy and satisfying." It's the cutest part of the movie, and I just so happen to have this page to match with it. So I really hope that it turns out as good as I'm expecting. So we shall see what happens. All right, so we came to the part of Pumbaa, and this is the first time I'm trying out my new Guana acrylic markers, and the colors match really nicely. It did leave some streaking behind, and I was really bummed out about that. I should have just did a second layer, but I decided not to, and instead I decided to layer with colored pencil over top and do some shading. Because with my Ohuhu ones, I can't really color over it because the consistency is just so much different. It has like this bumpy texture, so when I try to color on it with colored pencil, it leaves that bumpy texture behind and it just doesn't look good. These markers are just so much smoother. They're like butter. So, yeah, I was able to use my colored pencils on top and do some shading. It didn't come out like I thought it would, but it still looked pretty good, and so I just left it the way it was. So apparently I was doing the most of the mostest on this page. I'm only doing the characters and I've already pulled out all of my tips and tricks and all of my media. I even pulled out my blending stump. I believe this was only the second time that I've tried using them. I bought it so that I can blend colored pencils together along with the Gamsol, and it works really, really well. And since I was trying to layer pencils over these acrylic markers, I was wondering how they would blend. They don't really blend very well on top of acrylic markers, but they blend very well on their own. And I'm sorry about the glare. My cat was sitting in the window and she was making the blinds open, and so that's why there's a glare right there, but it doesn't last long. Anyway, I was also trying to use this blending stump to see if maybe I could blend the acrylic markers, and it wasn't really working well for that. These guana markers, they dry almost instantly after you apply them to the page. Unlike the Ohuhu acrylic markers, they're more on the wet side, so they take a couple of minutes to dry. So using the blending stump on the guana markers probably won't work, but I do think that you would probably be able to blend if you were doing it with these Ohuhu acrylic markers because the consistency is just so wet. I think that I'm gonna try that one day. But it definitely doesn't work with the guana ones because they're kind of drier. And so when I tried to apply it onto the blending stump, it just colored the stump, but it wouldn't come out on the paper itself. So I was just using it for the colored pencil aspect, but that didn't even really work out like I thought either. So I think at this point, I was talking to you guys as I was coloring, but I decided to just fast forward this part and talk to you guys on a voiceover. I'm using the acrylic marker to fill in Pumbaa's nose. And then later on, I'm going to go in with a water-based marker to add a little bit of extra color. I couldn't find a good color to match his nose, and the acrylic that I did choose was a bit bright. So yeah, I used a light shade of like a skin tone color to deepen the shade of that acrylic marker, but I don't think I did the entire nose. I think I just kind of went around the edges to kind of give it some shading instead of just coloring it all in with one color. But my main focus when coloring Pumbaa was to use mostly acrylics just because he's so large. He practically takes up that entire page. And you'd be surprised, you would think that that side of the page I would get done a lot faster. But to be honest with you, both of these combined, it took me like 5 or 6 days to complete. And I worked on it for about 3 to 4 hours per day. I did have to take a few days off in the middle of coloring them because I got really sick. And then the weekend came and I was spending time with my family. So that's another reason why it took so long to get this video out. In case you guys have been watching my videos, I've talked about this a couple of times in previous videos, but this was a lot of coloring. And you would think that with Pumbaa being so big that the background would have been really fast to complete, but oddly, it took a long time to finish these pages. Yay! So we've made it to my favorite part of coloring these characters is the outlining part. And I believe that this is pretty much the only part that you outline in black. There might be a couple of other little tiny parts that have black outline, but for the most part, the back of the page is mostly all color. So I am nearing the end of this video and I think I'm going to leave it here because I still have about 8.5 hours worth of footage to share with you guys. I'm not really sure if you guys even care to see the background and how I colored it. I usually don't even do the characters until last. I usually do the most, I guess, what you can consider boring parts first. Although I wouldn't say that the background on here is boring. There's a lot of really pretty vibrant colors and yeah, I like watching people color a page from start to finish personally. That's just how I am. But yeah, like I said, I wanted to keep this video kind of on the short side because I don't know how much you're willing, like how much time you're willing to spend watching me color. So after I'm finished with these bugs here, I'm going to end the video. But yeah, for smaller details like this, like on the bugs, I like to use my acrylic gel pens. I think that it's easier for one, and for two, it adds vibrancy, and they have small tips, so you can get in there and really fill in like these little tiny details. I just really like using my acrylic gel pens for that. But please let me know what you thought about this video. Let me know what I could do to make it more interesting. Do you like music only? Do you like when I talk most of the time? Do you like me illustrating what I'm doing? I personally don't really like to talk about what I'm using or what I'm doing because I really don't know all of the terminology and I don't want to sound like I know what I'm doing because I don't, like I just color out of pure, genuine enjoyment of seeing a picture come to life and bringing something into color. I have a thing about color. I like black and white stuff too. I like vintage things, but there's just something about seeing color all lined up together. And it doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be rainbow colors. I like seeing a bunch of different colors together, even if it's the same color. Like if there's all greens just sitting with each other, but they're different shades, there's just something about it that I love it. I don't know what it is. So Personally, I don't really like to talk about what I'm doing, but at the same time, I want to be interactive with my audience. Not necessarily to please everyone, because I know that's impossible. I can't please everybody. And maybe you might even like this one video, but my next video you absolutely hate. You see a different side of me that you don't really like. But I guess I just want to get to know my viewers and the kind of things that they like, what's on trend, and, like their interests and what they like to watch. And maybe I can find ways to relate to them, just like you might relate to me. Do you just like to stick with, a narrative point of what I'm actually doing, like I'm teaching you, or do you enjoy just watching people color with no music? Do you enjoy watching real time? Do you like watching it fast forward? For me, whenever I would sit and watch someone make cookies, for instance, because I like to make royal icing cookies, I would love to just sit there and watch someone without any talking and just the music and watch them do it. I don't necessarily need them to narrate what they're doing. So I'm just curious what your interests are, what you like. And I realize that everyone has different interests, so sometimes I like to play around with that in my editing as well. Maybe in one video I will do ASMR, or another video I will do just music, or in another video I will talk throughout the entire time. I'm just trying to figure out what everyone likes, but also be consistent at the same time and be myself, if that makes any sense at all. With all that said, I am at the end, and your guys are getting a little bit of a sneak peek of me coloring the rest of the page. So I'm going to leave it here, but I wanted you guys to get a sneak peek of what the end actually looks like. In case you guys don't really care to see the second part of this video, but you still want to see what the page looks like when it's finished, here you go. It's coming right now. There it is. I guess it's not fully finished, but it's an idea of what the background's going to look like. So I'm going to go ahead and close out this video. I want to thank you guys if you watched the video from start to finish. Please give me a like if you did end up liking it, or just like it. It doesn't really matter to me. Also, maybe subscribe to my channel if you want to see more coloring pages. That's what I like to do on this channel, but I am going to try and incorporate some more other type of videos other than hauls, because eventually that's going to slow down. I'm not sure. I'm just kind of winging it here, guys. But here is the complete finished pages, and I think it came out beautiful. Don't you think? Oh man, just looking at it gives me so many memories of how long it actually took to finish this page. But at the end, I feel redeemed. Is that the right word that I'm looking for? I love it. All those colors are so beautiful, and the fact that I use every single thing that I own, yeah, I love it. Picasso. Love you guys. See you guys next time. Hakuna Matata.